welcome into this edition of the GASOCAST. We are back recapping Week 2 and Week 3, but before we get started, I want to make sure and talk about our new app, the Texas High School Scoreboard App. It's officially dropped, 5 and 6A, scores for all of the district seasons. Like I said, up-to-date times and locations for each district, accurate district scores, updated district standing, playoff brackets, team notifications, much, much more. Go ahead, go to your app store, get on it, and we'll go from there.
I tweeted about that yesterday. I said, shout out to y'all for doing that because I'm not on that project, and it's a lot of work. So
hours.
So,
That's
yeah.
Sam and Mass. It's hours.
So shout out to you, man.
And DT.
And DT. Yeah.
DT's got us.
No,
man.
that's big time.
He's that 3 a.m. guy going to update scores.
If you could add your scores to Texas Hoops GASO, that would be so helpful.
A lot easier.
So helpful. I got all the rank 1 stuff, though. Y'all don't know what that is. It's all right. Let's move on. So before we really jump into the meat of this thing, I want to talk about where were we these last 2 weeks. A lot has happened over the past 2 weeks. We've had a lot of tournaments. We, as a team, are now 200 to 250 teams seen, and that number is going to increase again this weekend. So that's exciting. So where were y'all?
For me, it feels like it's been an eternity. It feels
Yes.
like it's been almost a month with Thanksgiving and everything like that. But 2 weeks ago, I started at Cop Hill ISD, so a lot of good basketball there. RJ Hampton Showcase event, I was there, and then I just finished up this past weekend at the Hoop Fest. A lot of good basketball, and saw a lot of teams that I was really excited to see. Blue?
Yeah, I feel like I need to go get a new car already. I mean, I've been on a horseshoe of Houston, San Antonio.
Sam, do you expense miles?
Texas Invitational, then head down to San Antonio for the Northeast Northside Tourney, San Antonio Spurs Tournament, Capel, Mavs Tournament, Hoop Fest, and in
making
between
me
just
making me feel bad.
going a whole lot to San Antonio.
I was in Pasadena, Coppell, RJ Hampton. I went to Mavs. I went to the Lone Star, and then Texas Jamboree last weekend in Houston. And then we've seen some one-off games here and there. So it's been a lot of good basketball, and we'll mention where we're going tonight and this weekend as well towards the end of this podcast. But one of the major things that I guess happened this weekend is I'm just going to label it the state of Texas high school basketball. And I feel like we did this in the summer. We kind of talked about, how the state was trending. But this weekend really put an exclamation point on everything that we have kind of been talking about, culminating to a point of Duncanville and Richardson's wins against national powers. And we got our local high schools beating them.
Right, and that's the thing that you mentioned, local high schools in a state where we don't have a lot of prep or a lot of private schools like that are recruiting wise. Mm-hmm. So we really get to flex our muscles and say, yeah, our public schools are beating you, with Richardson beating Arizona Compass very handily. Duncanville, I know everything on social media right now is that Duncanville won the California State Championship by beating a really tough Corona Central team and Sierra Canyon, which they've wanted that game for a while because Sierra Canyon beat them at a previous Hoop Fest. But, I think this past summer we knew a lot of our players stacked up. Now to see that our public schools, we can send our public schools out across the country and go compete. And, let's give credit to Dallas Kimball, who did have North Little Rock up 20. North Little Rock, a very talented public school team, did come back and win that game, but it shows just how deep our teams are. A Coronado, Nevada team got beat by San Antonio Wagner and Frisco Memorial as well at the Hoop Fest. So just right now you can see that we're a very prideful state, and I think our media coverage is a little more excited about winning these events than our players actually were. I think our players kind of knew that they were going to come in and compete, but our media that we already aren't lacking was very excited and are kind of walking around with a little swagger.
Yeah, and we have to give, Glenn Smith for putting together the Hoop Fest and what it has grown into. And I've been around since when it was at I think it was Arlington's science charter school, where it's grown now, that he's having it in Dickey's Arena. He's able to get those matchups. I know others around the state are starting to kind of create a little bit of that buzz. Sloan can get those out-of-state teams. So that helps the rich talent that we have. And I think that we're also rich in some toughness. You mentioned even San Antonio Wagner being the out-of-state teams, and everybody else that went through the Hoop Fest from the state of Texas that beat these national teams. I mean, it's rich with talent and toughness.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to get an opportunity as Texas to, Duncanville's going to continue to play some out-of-state teams, including this weekend. They're going to play some Louisiana teams, and then
Another Glenn Smith event.
yes, another Hoop Fest in Texarkana, and then Richardson's actually going to be going to Memphis, Tennessee, and taking on the North Little Rock team, which will be another anticipated matchup. But yeah, shout out to the players. That's what I tweeted out a couple days ago. Shout out to them for putting the state of Texas on, the coaches, staffs, and the players for getting these big wins. And then shout out to DeSoto girls, who also beat Montverde, which was a huge matchup for the state. So yeah, the state of Texas looking good. We're feeling good and excited for them to continue to compete.
And I'll tell you, it's really fun to be unified as Texas.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really fun
Absolutely.
to just be, like, pulling hard for anyone with the TX by their name on the scoreboard. And, you know, it's really cool to see these teams just go out and take care of business. And it's kind of what we've been seeing for a while now.
Yep.
And now it's just coming to fruition nationally.
Absolutely.
So really, really special time in the state of Texas. And really led by the 2022 class and the 2023 class. So it's been really good. Let's continue the momentum of this, and let's just get into some headliners of some of the past few weekends. I'll kick us off here.
Okay.
Because I had the joy of seeing one of the games. PJ Haggerty has been going crazy. And, you know, it's really special to see because he does have such a unique game. There's a lot of arguments to be had of like where he kind of falls in the 2022 class. But there's one thing that you cannot say about that guy, and he puts the ball in the bucket constantly. I got to see him versus Manville. Sam got to see him against Richardson in the epic 42-point game, and then he had a 59-point game. It's just like the dude puts the ball in the basket, and it's very unique, and people don't like what they perceive in their little box of what a prospect should be. And it's taken time, but stepping out of your box of what you see in a prospect, you gotta realize outliers exist, and this guy is a special basketball player.
Somebody asked me not too long ago, within probably the past 10 days of traveling, past 14 days, where does he stand when it comes to winning? Well, he had 59 points.
He wants to
against
win.
Terry, and it was during an overtime win. I don't think if he cared about winning, it would have been just more about stats. And if you look, he's not. I have to hand it to him because he's not, hyping himself. He's just going out and producing, and it's never been a lack of producing since the first time I saw him at the Pasadena tournament during his sophomore year.
Yeah.
So the consistency, you can't deny anything. Has he taken his bumps and bruises and lost games by scoring those amount of points? Yes. But we have collectively said that Kason Wallace and Rylan Griffin, we hold at a very high standard of defenders, and they both went after PJ Haggerty, and PJ was able to score on them. But didn't get the win, but still, he was trying to do everything he can to get that W.
Absolutely. Anybody else want to jump in?
No, I haven't seen PJ in person. Obviously, I see the highlights, and they speak for themselves. But
Lately. You haven't seen him lately.
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen this role that he's on. But the one thing you mentioned, that he's not too loud on social media. Other people are loud for him, and he's just letting his game talk. And, at the end of the day, regardless of what you think a prospect is, you can't deny production. And the highest level of production maybe across the state that we're seeing right now.
And and TCU is very excited.
No, they should be.
It should be 100%.
I will start off. Like I said, I was at the Coppell ISD, which feels like
The 9 a.m.
oh,
We talked about the 9 a.m. That game was awesome.
yeah. I tell kids all the time, if I'm coming to an early game, you better give me something. And the Coppell John Paul game was big time. And the standout, while there were many across the weekend, was Ryan Agarwal. We've labeled him, and rightfully so, as a shooter with size. He's played in great systems, but now there's a little bit more, a different makeup of that Coppell team that's allowing him to have the ball in his hands and make more plays. So what I love about him is his playmaking in the open court and transition, the ball in his hands, creating. You can tell he's just more confident, and if the shot's not falling, he's able to get to the rim a lot easier now. And before, we were like, okay, if he's not hitting shots, what is he doing? Well, he's rebounding at a high clip. The mid-range is great, but he's finishing against length and doing it really, really effectively. And he did that all weekend long with a very impressive Coppell team who we didn't have in our top 25, but I think they've made an early statement as a team that with the coaching style and the pieces around are going to be a player in 6A.
Yeah, and speaking of that Capel ISD tournament, Austin Westlake, I think y'all know.
Yeah.
It's easy to be such a big fan of them. I think Robert Lucero does not get the credit that he deserves as being one of the state's best coaches, and the toughness to come in multiple weekends into the Metroplex and win games. I mean, they beat Green Hill at Hoop Fest. And so Robert Lucero is not backing down from anybody. We're going to touch on Connor McManus later.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And, I mean, they're so fun to watch because I think you know what you're getting with them, the product when they step on the court. And they have their own style this year.
Absolutely.
And they do not waver from it.
No, I agree. And like I said, we'll talk about Connor a little bit at a different segment. But one thing I'll touch on is their ability to get the shots that they want. It's all about the kids just knocking down the shots because they're getting wide open shots every possession. Yeah. And, they're going to be a tough out in Region 4 for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of Region 4, Wagner has traveled all over the state, and they're taking some bumps and bruises, but they're also winning games. Same thing with Westlake.
Oh, absolutely.
Westlake's one loss is you saw when Clark beat them, and they haven't. I don't believe they've lost since.
Yeah, a lot
I know
of.
they want to play it again.
Yeah.
I can say that.
Yeah, battle tested for sure.
And that
a lot
could
of
happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about a matchup I saw last Tuesday night: Micah Clark versus Alex Anamekwe. I said it right. You had Lancaster.
I wouldn't know.
You had Lancaster versus McKinney. And, this is just a game of two teams that play hard, and specifically two players who really kind of like that heartbeat for those teams. And these two went at it. I mean, both 20-point scores. I think I put in the tweet, it was epic because the two hardest playing players in the game were dominating it. And I think that Alex won quarters 1 and 4, and I think Michael won quarters 2 and 3. Alex just did his thing where he gets every rebound. He blocks like 5 shots, and then he puts back, and he's just seems like the most miserable person ever to block out. And then
business
Micah,
decisions.
As
like, children,
I'm out.
kids, business decisions.
I'll watch. That's why I'm sitting down. But Micah, on the other hand, in the second, third quarter, when he really did his damage, was doing it a lot in the post on Alex, like using his footwork, shot fake, doing all of these types of things. And after the game, I was like, man, I've never seen your post game look like that. I've seen you be electric in transition. I've seen you knock down some threes. I've seen you get to the hole. You're usually beating slower guys off the dribble. But this time he was using his body, turning and sealing, and when the ball was swung, getting Alex out of position, catching it, shot faking. He had his tricks in the bag went super deep, and I was really impressed with his post game. That was one of the more fun games that I've watched, just because two Titans clashing and two very, very good prospects going at it, playing as hard as they can. Because sometimes, the finesse guys, they take a little bit easy on defense. Not these two. They're going hard.
Well, also, if you look, and we've talked about teams playing, some pretty tough non-district schedules, and Lancaster's one of them. And with Micah Clark, who's an unsigned senior, he's playing like he's playing for scholarships, and no better opportunity to play against a dude like Alex going to SMU, and for him to showcase his talent. That's what these games are about. That's why you want to play the best. Yeah. And he's obviously, like we've talked about in the summer. Some unsigned seniors on the summer circuit, they got to decide: are you really out here because you want it, or you're just out here because you have nothing else to do? But in the high school situation, you can tell Micah Clark plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he plays like he wants the scholarships really, really bad.
And if you love basketball, like Alex is a treat to watch, because he does everything that no one else wants to do, and he does it every single time. So I cannot wait to see what he continues to develop and translate to at the next level.
Blue, you have been covering San Antonio quite a bit.
Yeah.
You got the opportunity to see a DFW team down in San Antonio handling business.
They're DeSoto, talking to Richard Bacon, they go down and they beat Houston Bel Air by 15 or 20. I can't remember exactly the right score, but they dominated that game from start to finish. He's starting to put that Richard Bacon touch to it at DeSoto, and they're beating teams early, and to go through any tournament, doesn't matter which one it is, to finish strong and win a championship. That's really good sign for DeSoto, who who had a little bit of a transitional year last year, obviously, but Richard Bacon feels like he's got the right kids on the court. They're playing together as a team. I can't tell you who the stud is because right now there isn't. And I think that as a coach, he likes seeing that because they're sharing the ball, they're pressuring the ball 94 feet, and they're winning as a team.
Those were the toughest teams to scout for, where they have like 5 or 6 dudes who can score 10 points. Those are hard teams to scout for because you can't take anything away, and you can't just like, okay, we're not going to guard that guy because you got to guard them all, and that's tough for a coach.
It's so much easier when you have one guy go, let's stop him from scoring 25.
Yeah. Let's get the ball out of his hands. Yeah,
Right.
like that's easy. Just run a second guy at him. But when you have 5 guys who are balanced, that's hard to stop.
So I'll talk about the RJ Hampton Showcase and the main event game between Duncanville and Dallas Kimball. It was much must watch. And the one player that I want to mention from this, as far as a headliner, while there was a lot of impact, when you're down 6 to 8 points with 3 minutes to go and you're Duncanville, now what? Because you're not in that position very often.
No.
Who's going to step up? Who's going to make plays? And the playmaker was C.J. Ford. I think a guy that Division I player, go to Northern Arizona. He was like, hey, I'll take care of this. And he hit threes. He brought the energy, and Dougville was able to make that comeback. Well, there's a lot of guys on both teams, and we're going to talk about some of them in later parts of this podcast. But yeah, the crowd was stunned. Because if you didn't see the game, Duncanville went up big. And here comes Kimball. And Kimball not only got even with them.
Like they always do.
Kimball not only got even with them, they went up 6, 8, almost 10 points. And now Duncanville's in this gray area where it's like, okay, now what? And C.J. Ford, clutch shot after clutch shot. And shout out to Pops on the sideline, Neiman. Like he wasn't shy about letting them know, like, yeah, we're doing this. He was proud, and the culture there makes it even scarier when you see Duncanville because guys like C.J. Ford don't get talked about a lot, but C.J. Ford can easily be their go-to guy down the stretch, and he really showed it, hitting some big-time shots to get Duncanville back in the game to end up winning it at the end of the very game with a tip-in.
That's the scary part is when you forget about the other guys.
Yeah, like
It's so
I
easy to
tweeted,
say
I tweeted after this weekend at the Hoop Fest, where would Duncanville be without Eric Demings and C.J. Ford?
They're like
Yeah.
12 deep. Like, it's ridiculous.
Like those two hitting shots and defending, like it's always like,
It's like
if
a
there's
bonus.
Yeah. So yeah, but no, C.J. Ford definitely deserved to be on this headliners list for his performance in that game.
Mass, you want to jump into Keanu Dawes?
Oh yeah.
You
I-
were blowing my text up.
Yeah. I saw Keanu Dawes. It was about 11 a.m. or 12, and I woke
What
up.
event?
That's bad to leave him
Texas
by
Jamboree.
himself at a game.
Texas
And-
Jamboree. Yeah, like when I'm locked in and focused, I got my headphones and I'm just watching the game. Keanu Dawes was special this weekend. I saw him come down the court. He bears a 3. Then he gets a layup. Then he gets another layup. Then he hits a mid-range shot. And then he gets a dunk. And it's like, okay, you've shown a lot offensively. And then he's handling the ball at the top. This guy's 6'7", and like he's throwing left-handed bounce passes back door. And I'm like, dude, you're not supposed to be able to do that this early in your career. And just Stratford, very well coached. They did a lot of good things. And Keanu just stood out, man. They kind of let him do. They put him in positions to succeed and really showcase everything that he can do. They ran this great motion, a lot of read and react to it, and he was just making the right decisions as a guard at 6'7", 2023 kid.
And you and Sam both agree that he probably is a top 20 kid.
Yes,
That's what I was gonna say. Is
Yeah.
he ranked? Do we have him ranked too low?
we have him. I told him that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said,
Stalkerizers.
I said, wow, you're really good, dude. And he was very good. So if you haven't seen him, he is a guy you need to go see. They're just a really special player. And then, like I said, I want to shout out to Stratford as a team. They were very well coached. They played really well together. And Keanu, you can tell the shooting still coming along. He was making shots. But as he gets more comfortable from the perimeter shooting, it's sky's the limit for a kid like that.
I also want to mention if directors are out there, you want a 6 a.m. game, he'll be there with a coffee. This guy will be there watching that game. And
Best
so
believe.
I'm gonna jump into, let's piggyback off each other right here with the 2 John Paul
Yes.
kids right here, Liam McNeely. Everybody talks about him, and rightfully so. I mean, he's super, super skilled, and just the way he can finish a play. when he comes off the dribble and just lays it in and just kind of finger rolls it. He knows perfect angles to hit the mid-range game, hit his three, little finesse to his game. He's got the total package, and then you put Gabe Warren next to him.
Yeah,
and it's
then,
a completely different player.
And that's who I had on our headliners, Gabe Warren. And to be honest, we can add all three of them because they've had a really good run with R.J. Jones as well, hitting shots, man. I think,
you know what? He's so long. I know we're getting a little bit maybe off the straight, but just so long in the way that he can go grab a rebound just because he can go over people and just snatch it with those long arms and big hands.
And they can all three start the break.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Gabe Warren's ability to knock down threes at a high clip these last couple weeks is scary. Yeah. Already a prospect that you have to box out. Another business decision guy. I caught him do multiple tip dunks at the Coppell ISD, but I think he's one of those prospects that he doesn't know how good he can be yet. And it's all starting to click offensively. He's not thinking as much about, like, when he catches, he's catching and shooting.
Yeah.
He knows how to attack. You already know how great he is in transition. But the three ball is falling, and he looks like a prospect that might be one of the stock risers going into this summer. I think he has the opportunity to be one of the hotter names on the grassroots circuit, and he's starting now. So I was really excited to see him. And then R.J. Jones, the prettiest scorer that I've seen maybe in Texas. His game is so pretty, and when it's on, it's really on. I think he's continued to learn how to play that point guard position and be that leader with John Paul. But that three-headed monster there, and there's a I don't know if we're calling him a sleeper in a little bit or a glue guy, but there's another name we're not going to talk about quite yet on John Paul that makes them an early favorite for Taps, and we'll get to them here very soon.
Yeah, speaking of R.J. Jones, just like it's not an explosive game, it's a smart game.
Yeah,
it's a timely game, and I know you like scores, and that's just how he gets his buckets.
High skill level. Man.
Now I'm gonna go back to when I was in San Antonio at the Northeast North Side, Houston Strake Jesuit. They're 6-1 right now. They won the tournament. They had to beat El Paso Chapin in overtime, and then in the championship game, I believe they played an overtime victory for against San Antonio Brandeis. And you're talking about Jace Posey, Drayton Jones, 6'8", that starting to show some signs of some really good life underneath the basket, and then Nico Murr and there's a cast of other guys. They actually went and finished the Northeast North Side on Saturday afternoon, late afternoon, jumped in the van, came to Dallas for 2 games. They played on Monday, so they had a day of rest on Sunday. Monday they played Coppell and beat them. Then they went to Byron Nelson. Sam was there to watch them, and that was the game that they lost. But that's
6 and
that's
6
tiring.
days. Yeah, 6 and 6 days.
Well, they played 5 over, I believe, at
So 7
San
and 6
Antonio.
days. Crazy.
Battle tested, baby.
Battle tested. Yeah, absolutely. And then I just want to move into Faith Family. Their dominance cannot be understated. I know they didn't win this weekend, but just whenever I've seen them this year, even starting in our Fall Classic events, they've just been dominant. And they roll out like – they're kind of like – they have that Duncanville effect where they just roll out like 12 dudes. Yeah. And you're like, any one of these guys could step on the floor and compete. And I don't there's too many to mention, quite honestly. But Brandon Walker being the leader, and Jaden Toppin, I've loved him since the summer, and he's really, really turning the corner. I peeked in and then watched them on the Mavs.
Yeah, with Jaden Toppin, we're gonna have a segment later called Gossip where we'll talk about it. But he's definitely on my gossip list. A kid that I really haven't seen yet that I've heard a lot of good things about.
Yeah, and
seen this season, during the high school season.
Yes, and they're just really, really, really good. And wow, I was thinking about it the other day. Our kind of top teams in 4A, 5A, and 6A, and it's just like just loaded with talent. It goes back to the Texas conversation. So that's going to wrap up our headliners, and we're going to move into stock risers.
Going to get into stock risers, and I have to really admit that my head's spinning because there's so much to get to, and I don't know for how much we're moving forward, how many guys that we're going to be able to talk about. But man, this is a truckload of guys that we got coming up on the stock risers.
Yeah, just before like you get into these, like you said, there's a lot, and we're having a lot of discussions about these stock risers off camera too.
Yeah.
So like it was tough because there's a lot more than this list.
And we're having a lot of discussions about
Yeah.
these stock risers with college coaches that call every single day. Sunday, we're talking to college coaches. I mean, so, just let me, I want to watch some fantasy football, but it's okay. I'll take a phone call or two. Jamari McDowell from Manville, 6'5". I mean, can handle. It looks every bit of the part of like that mid-major that you just want to go. I'm going to offer you. He can handle it like a point. He plays out on the wing, knocks down some threes. Really good passer. Going to go back and see Manville some more to really get that pinpoint where he's going to be in the future when we do rankings and stuff. But yeah, he's a stock riser. I mean, whatever we have him right now, it's too low. We'll get that going and Mass. You can talk about the Millanders who play with him during the summer.
Yeah, it's like I've talked about them a lot lately.
Yeah,
and they get stuff done. They're effective. They are awesome. I'm going to talk specifically about Chemo, and my guy is just producing all this thinking time. It's with points. He's shooting the ball. I've seen him knock down threes consistently. He's getting after it on defense, playing 94 feet. I mean, constant pressure. And then
Sam called him an elite defender.
yeah, rebounds, steals, assists. He has so much weight is put on the brothers in general. And then Chemo in particular, he's kind of the senior leader, like the heartbeat. And he's too low. Again, like he's just too low, and he's a winner. He produces against high-level competition constantly. Clearbrook wins. They just get stuff done, and that just cannot be overstated. In this time frame, and that's why, you were talking about UIL basketball, prep school, all these things. Like you can be battle tested so well in the UIL, and that's what that kid is all the time, and he just wins. So Chemo, hats off to you, dude.
For me, Tijon Brown, and when we're talking about pound for pound game changers, he has to be up there on that list. And what's even more impressive is that when you're on a team with so much talent like Kimball, sometimes you have to try to figure out what's your role. How do you really maximize how much you're involved in the game? And going to get 9 steals against Duncanville and almost pulling out a win, that tells me that you're involved in the game. So he's doing that. He's a pest on defense, man. Like, he's picking up 94 feet. He's hitting the open three, which is just a luxury at this point for that Duncanville team. But I've seen him guard Nick Smith now from North Little Rock, who's a top 10 national player, and made it tough on him. But like I said, his ability to hit the open three, and he's turning into a glue guy that's a game-changer glue guy at this point for the Kimball team. And maybe his role would be different on a different high school team, but for now he's maximizing everything he can do on the court, attacking, knowing when there's an open lane to go get a bucket, but just making it tough, diving on loose balls. Kimball gets going on those runs because of him, whether it's half court makes a steal now, Chauncey Gibson, Arterio Morris get leak-out dunks, Kyron Henderson catches lobs. It all starts with Tijon Brown. And the change of that game when Duncanville had them down double digits and big, thinking we're going to be like, oh, same old story, Duncanville. No, Tijon Brown decided, no, let's make this a little more interesting. And I'm telling you, man, like his ability to change a game at 5'7", 5'8" is just super impressive to me.
And that helps, like you said, Gibson and Morris, who are going to get a bulk of the scoring.
Right.
So what happens is that the defenses are collapsing, and then he's able to pitch it out, and you don't have to have your two main scorers with the ball in their hands all the time. They can go create something and make something happen.
And he's a willing scorer, and he's doing a lot of his stuff off ball as well, whether that's just sitting in the corner and waiting to get an open shot or attacking a zone. He's doing so much stuff and playing his role but maximizing the efficiency within it, and it's super impressive.
Yeah, and another kind of that 5'9", 5'10" guard, Parker Hanna from Keller. Keller is just, we talked about it on a tweet. I think you tweeted it out last week at the Mavs event. They run their offense to perfection. Zach Weir, the head coach, it's a fun game to watch when they're down by 8 and they're working the ball around to open teammates and not.
They couldn't make a shot.
No.
And you could tell the process was right. Like they were getting the looks that they wanted.
Then they started falling.
They started falling, and the floods went loose. And then I texted you and Sam. I was like, "Have y'all seen Keller play?"
I ran over there.
And then I looked up Coach Weir, and I was like, "Oh, he's a contributor to Fast Model Sports. Oh, he has his own podcast. Oh, this guy lived lives and breathes this. you
Yeah.
know? So I was like, he's great.
And Parker Hanna for Keller can really run that offense. I mean, there's so many interchangeable pieces there
Yes.
that where
I'll
you know,
talk about one
Parker-
later.
Yeah, and Parker, great looking stroke, can handle it, backs out of pressure, gets
Has
the
that
ball in
zip
his
like his
hand.
brother.
He has a little
yeah.
zip and a little
And he's
pop
got
that I
those-
saw in highlights for sure. So yeah.
and I think that he's his body is just growing
Yeah.
right now.
I'll jump in. I'll talk about Isaac Berry from Little Elm. I saw him have 38 points over the week or last
Sheesh.
Tuesday. This is a guy that I saw last year play Hebron, and he had like 13 points, 6 or 7 rebounds, couple assists, couple steals, and I was like, that guy impacts the game. And I come back this year, and he's like taking like 15 threes and making 8 of them. Like, what is going on?
That's the right number.
Yeah, and then we saw him at our Tops in Texas. He was great. He was one of our top performers. You know, Isaac Berry was a guy I was pushing to some college coaches, and he's a good player, man. Just really good. Kind of has found his rhythm. I was talking to Coach Parker about him. And he just says he just needs to consistently believe that he's going to put it in the basket, because sometimes Coach Parker goes, I took him out because he didn't shoot one time. I love it. I love that type of confidence that you have in a player.
Speaking of pushing to college coaches, I did actually travel a little bit. I went down to San Antonio and saw some basketball. Christian Rodriguez of Somerset, I got to see them play. And speaking of pushing to college coaches, Christian Rodriguez, coaches, he needs his books paid for. He needs his room and board. He needs the food hall. He needs a tuition because he's a scholarship player, in my opinion. Double-double machine, almost a 2020 game for Somerset when they played San Antonio Veterans Memorial.
And you have highlights.
And I have highlights of it. I mean, he can hit the three. He's attacking a big that had no business guarding him. Just super versatile. The rebounding is outrageous. And with shooters around that Somerset team, Somerset at 4A will be hosting a home game at the Alamo Dome. When is the state tournament?
Oh goodness!
Wow.
March 8th, maybe.
Yeah, they'll be hosting.
Somewhere around there.
They'll be hosting Faith Family at a home game in the state tournament, and they will have business in that game, in my opinion. That's no shot to anybody else, but for a lot of people that look at Somerset, San Antonio, Region 4, like these kids can play.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have Shane Perales and Matthew Soto that can fill it up with anybody, having a kid like Christian Rodriguez, 2022 unsigned, that does all the nasty stuff that a big man needs to do.
Well, and you're not too far off, because when in 4A Region 4, when you have those, when you're equipped with scores like that,
Yeah.
you have a really good chance of making it to the Alamo Dome.
Yeah.
So that's not that, you know.
But yeah.
That's a lot of pressure
Yeah.
on them, but they
Yeah,
have
but
the scores.
Hey, I'm
do
I'm
it.
not more bold than the next person on social media. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, with Christian, Rodriguez, his ability to put the ball on the ground, super crafty footwork inside, but his nastiness to want to go get every rebound. Like, he's gonna have multiple 20 and 20 games, and I was super impressed with him, and I'm glad that we were able to talk about him today.
And seriously, go to youtube.com/Texas Hoops
Television, yeah. No, we have the game recap
go
up right
look
there.
at
He
the
was,
recap.
yeah, he was big time.
I'll jump in. Fred Payne, my guy at the Mavs.
But I want to talk about him.
All right, we can both talk about him. Real smooth lefty, can shoot it. Don't go under his pick and roll because the ball's going in. And he, people were making him work. He was getting downhill. He's hitting tough shots all night long.
Yeah.
He's just a really straightforward prospect in that, like, he's pretty complete.
Yeah.
I'd like to say, like, he can handle the ball. He has good vision. He can shoot it. He can get in the rim. He's got all the little floaters and the finishes. Special player. I mean, a really good guy who I've seen. This is now my third time to see him.
Yeah. No, to be honest, from all the games I saw at the RJ Hampton Showcase, that's where we both saw him. Like, his ability to score, I think, might have been the best, and he just got it going the most of all the prospects I saw. I'm surprised there's not more video about him. We got some out, but yeah, like, he was a stud at that event. If there was an all-tournament team, he would be first team on there. Like, he really 100%. Had it going. They played Green Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the three, getting to the pace, the step back. Obviously, he's a lefty, so a lot of times lefties are a lot smoother. And
it just looks better.
Yeah,
I don't
looks
know what
better,
it is.
but no, he really got it going. And he's just another prospect that moved in from Louisiana that's going to continue to take the state by storm.
I think he was Arkansas.
Arkansas?
Arkansas.
Okay.
Deion Thomas was Louisiana.
Okay, well, he's going to take the state by storm if you haven't already seen him.
Yep.
I'm going to jump in there with Antoine Gonzalez from Colleen Shoemaker. Had 35 points against East Central.
You were tweeting a lot about him.
Yeah.
With big performances.
Oh, soft touch. Like everything he threw up went in. It was one of those just games that you watch and like, when is he going to miss? Nope. And he was taking high percentage shots and knocking them down. He corner three, not so much, corner three, just soft release. I mean, they took it to East Central 82 to 59 behind his 35 points, and he was just. It's one of those games when you kind of put your pen and paper down, you just kind of enjoy watching somebody have their moment. But we've liked him before in the past.
Yeah.
Kind of roller coaster a little bit in the summer, but those kind of performances need to be pointed out, and that's, I think, is the Antoine Gonzalez that you're getting.
With on this list now, when you're a national powerhouse, as everybody's saying Duncanville is, you could have more than 1, 2, 3, or 4 reasons why you're that good. And a Stock Risers 2023, Eric Deming's another kid that I don't think gets talked about enough. But another gamer, his ability to hit big-time shots, guys. Like, I mean, he's another one that, like, where would they be? I mentioned that earlier, but where would they be? He's not going to – I mean, everybody's worried about Ron Hall and Anthony Black. He's going to get his open shots, and he's hitting them. He's going to be guarding one of the top guards on the other team just because that's how their makeup is. They're a really big team. You're going to have C.J. Ford and Eric Demings guarding the point guard and the other guards. Like, they're just playmakers. He rebounds. He's nasty. I mean, it's a lot of the Duncanville culture, but he's efficient in his role, and that's what you need when you're a high-level, high-powered machine like Duncanville's been. And Eric Demings has really stepped up. He played really well this summer with Urban DFW. He's just is always going to make tough shots for your team, and just the will to win, you can see it in him.
All right. My number one stock riser, Elijah Obaseki, man. He was fantastic at Capel. I sent a text to the GASO group.
We were sitting there and
everybody's got to see this guy.
And then after that, he
did it again.
and you're
he
like,
did it again. Usually, you really hype up a guy, and someone comes into the game and they're like, yeah, he was good, but everybody was like, oh, he was really good. And I just think everything's kind of come together for him. No secret, his brother, man, he plays at Texas A&M, freak athlete, and Elijah's got a bit more size and just a thicker build, and all the coordination, I feel like, has come together, and he's finishing everything around the rim.
He's finishing everything.
He's bodying up. He's making open threes.
Pick and pop threes, yeah.
He's coming off the trail and just catching the ball wide open. Boom.
Yeah.
And we weren't talking about him 2 years ago.
No.
He was on the court. He wasn't ready. And that's okay, because now he has blossomed, and he's playing with 3 high-level guys beside him. Once again, kind of like the Duncanville feel. Who's going to come get him? People need to start pick up college coaches. Call Dan Lee at John Paul. This kid can go out there and absolutely play. At times you just see him run in the middle of the paint and just like, oh wow, he wasn't doing that 2 years ago or even a year ago. And he's scoring around the basket, getting rebounds, making good passes, good decisions. He's just an all-around game, like you said, a top stock riser. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's gonna have to jump a lot. And that Blue, you have one more guy who I'm gonna get to see this weekend, who I'm super pumped about. Yeah. Braylon Smith.
Yes, Braylon for Taka, he's got a smooth game, and Ani does a great job for them, coaching him and allowing him to kind of be a freelancer at times. And just coming off the dribble and rising up and knocking down those mid-range shots or stretching the floor. In a pinch, he can be the lead guard to get past the pressure. And he's got a lot of those guard tools that you want. You don't want just a one-dimensional guy. He's able to do a lot of those things that by, like I said, weaving in and out of that pressure and knocking down big shots. Frame just needs to get a little bit, add some weight, get stronger, and he's going to continue to climb, and I know a lot of college coaches are buzzing a little bit about him and liking what they see.
Yeah.
But they know there's still one more layer to him that he needs to really take that big jump.
Yeah. So I'll introduce this next segment, New Kids on the Block. And before y'all start going crazy in the comments saying this kid's not new, like this is just more of a topic of kids that have been around that are starting to blossom a little bit more and really taking advantage. A lot of seniors, some juniors here that are really like producing at a higher level for their high school early on this season. So before people come and say, "Oh, y'all are just now talking about them," no, we know who these kids are, but we're giving their rightful due. So for the haters, we're not just we know who the kids are, and if you want to say something, hey, we're talking about them. So relax on that. But I'll go ahead and start. We wanted to bring this kid up earlier, so we waited for this section. Connor McManus of Austin Westlake. Holy smokes, baby. Austin Westlake, well-oiled machine that are going to get the shots they want, and the shots they want are Connor McManus three-pointers.
It's ridiculous the kind of shots that they get set up for.
Yeah.
And one key part of their offense is that the players, they make really good skip passes, those angles.
Oh, absolutely.
When the defense is all on one side and they throw it to that weak side. And that's where Connor McManus makes a living.
Yeah.
Now, yes, he might be a little bit flat-footed waiting for that shot, but he's also moving in the offense to get open.
But like you said,
and he's following the
he
ball.
knows when the skip pass is coming. They know where their shots are coming. He knocked down a plethora of them this weekend at the Hoop Fest. I saw him at Cop Hill also. I think he was the MVP of the Cop Hill ISD event. But at Hoop Fest, he went crazy, and I'll be posting highlights. I'm pretty behind on highlights. We've had a lot of games. Shout out to me for covering a lot of games, right? But no, I'll be posting a lot of highlights for him.
Sleep.
But yeah, I filmed them Saturday
morning.
You were there as well?
Yep.
And he had 3 threes right off.
Friday morning.
Friday, they played Green Hill?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Friday, I mean, he went nuclear. I think he had 5 or 6 threes.
Yeah. And he did the same in the championship game at Capel.
Yeah.
And he hit 3 big ones, like bang, bang, bang. Just like he's one of those guys that where they're going to depend on him to hit those 3. And it's just there's some quantity going up when you had all of them collectively at Westlake. But they want to get him the ball.
And for, like we talked about, new kids on the block, he's a senior now, and he's not uncomfortable having the ball in his hands. You can just kind of see that veteran leadership, and nobody's going to take the ball from him. He may not try to beat you off the dribble, but he's not a liability to have the ball in his hands, and he already knows within that offense and that culture where his open shots are going to be, and he's ready to fire, and he's been hitting a high clip.
All right, TJ Newton. To Michael's point, I knew everybody else. I did not know this guy.
Sorry, guys.
From Burke Burnett, man. If y'all want to make a trip out there, this guy's worth it. TJ Newton, Burke Burnett presses the whole game, and this guy is like a jump shooter. I saw him on his 4th game at like 9 a.m. In the weekend. Again, like I said, pressing all weekend. And what does he do? They're losing after the first quarter, 19-16, but he has all 16 points.
Oh.
And he's pressed the whole first quarter. He's played 3 or 4 games and playing 32 minutes a game. This cat can score it. He's going to Cameron University. He's already signed, but I wanted to give him a shout-out because he was phenomenal. He can get his shot. He can create off the dribble. 6'3", built very well. He really shoots it from deep, free throws, and then he gets after it on deep. And a guy who can press the whole game and still be like a finesse jump shooter scorer, impressive. So if Burke Burnett's coming to town or wherever they are, make a little note. TJ Newton, good luck to you in college, brother. You are good, dude.
Another guard along the same lines as Bryce Smith from Barbers Hill.
Where's Barbers Hill at?
It's Houston area out east.
It sounds like an East Texas school.
Yeah. Okay. I really can't pinpoint unless I look on the map. But thanks for the setup. Bryce Smith.
Hey, this isn't geography. I was just curious where that's at.
It's in that area.
I know you didn't watch him at their home state.
Yeah, but really good at just kind of just getting by defenses. A lot of floaters. Like he recognizes, hey, I'm 6 foot, 6'1". More longer guy runs at him. He can put the right touch on it. Hits the outside shot. Really runs the team and gets things going for them. I liked him a lot. I know Sam talked highly about him too as we were going through that weekend of Texas Invitational on that Thursday that we were there.
I was looking at the write-ups. It was like identical write-ups. Yeah. It was pretty funny. It was like zippy, gets by guys, knocks down floaters, mid-range. Bryce is a really good player.
For me, another player I saw at the Cop Hill ISD tip-off was Dallas Smith of Lakeview Centennial. You know, I filmed them versus Frisco Wakeland. Not a lot of people in the gym watching the game, but he really stood out in a game where Frisco Wakeland almost looked like they're going to pull away. He was the catalyst late to fill it up, hit some tough threes. He has really good footwork at the guard position, a nice stocky size frame, but he's just ability to create, get into the paint, nice touch around the rim. He was a really impressive prospect for me that ended up winning that game for Lakeview Centennial in overtime.
I'll jump in. Brady Smith, Cy-Fair, 6'8", got some game. He had a 21 and 18 at the Pasadena. I saw him have I was in there for the first, second, and third quarter before I had to run to another game, but Sam stayed for the full thing. He had a 30-point game, I believe, against Conroe. Dude can shoot it. He's grown into his body a little bit, and he's knocking down threes. He got called for a travel, but it wasn't. And he goes and does a spin move and kind of Euro. It was ridiculous. And he finishes it. He's got a lot of skill, and he is a sleeper that college coaches need to be aware of. Brady Smith's got some real game out of Cy-Fair. He's active inside. He can do a lot of stuff inside out. Lots of skill, like you mentioned earlier. If you have lots of skill, Mass will really like you. Yeah,
and Sam Lowe brought up the point that where he thought that he was watching somewhat of a Matt Kingsley for going way back into like 2003, 2004 time frame, who went to who people thought was just a Division III player. Steve Lutz from SFA goes and signs him at SFA, and he's one of the best players probably ever in the history at SFA. So there's a lot of comparisons in our office about Brady Smith being the same way. DeMar Burton from San Antonio Brandeis at 6'6". I don't think that he probably scored more than 10 points when I saw him, but a long, healthy-looking power, kind of stretch forward, power forward, can dip inside, stay outside, get the pitch over there and knock down a three. And you can kind of tell that he's developing, but there's a lot to work with, and he's just he's got a little bit of a just a natural feel out there on the perimeter.
For me, now this is the New Kids on the Block segment, but this kid's not new at all. And actually, let's just reintroduce him after his injury. Nas Brown of Coppell. You know, me and Nas had a personal conversation, talking about some rankings and things like that. And fast forward to hit the Coppell ISD. Fast forward past that to SportsCenter #1 hitting the. I mean, I wasn't there for that, but yeah, that's what he's back.
Yeah.
And I think another guy, when we talk about New Kids on the Block, he's a senior now. You can see some of that veteran, that experience coming out to where he understands maybe his knee is not fully healthy from his ACL, but he's playing more efficient within his role. He may not be trying to attack and do some things, but he's the open shot. That's what we've always wanted to see. He almost has a better three-point shot now than he did prior to the injury, which is going to bode well for him at the next level. But it's just ability to lead. He's hitting big-time shots. He's always been a tough shot maker, but he brings that catalyst, that energy to Coppell that I was really excited to see. And I'm just so happy for the kid, and I know he's worked really hard to get back from this injury.
And one thing that I noticed about him, he wasn't a gunslinger. He just wasn't going out there jacking shots. He was playing under control, making smart decisions on what a good shot, bad shot. He would give up the ball when he wasn't in position to shoot. I thought that was very key. And like you said, to me, I'm just from the sideline looking, man, how comfortable can he be with that big old brace on? He plays through it.
Yeah.
And his shot looks better now. And I didn't know what to expect from him. But a key for me is that he is playing smart basketball, taking higher percentage shots, and making the right decisions on good shot, bad shot, which sometimes players have a very difficult time of recognizing that.
Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, he can be on New Kids on the Block and Stock Risers. I think he's really – and he's just going to continue to get better and more comfortable.
He's only playing 16 minutes a game. He's on a minutes restriction. He was a part of the epic 9 a.m.
The 9 a.m. game.
The 9 a.m. game. He had 29 points on 8 of 11 shooting, and he played 16 minutes.
And if you haven't seen the SportsCenter, go to his Twitter page, and, like, he hit a full-court buzzer beater to beat – I don't know who they were playing. But it was tie game, and hit the game winner, and it was incredible.
In the state of Texas, we've had 2 75-footers go in a week. Am I right on that?
I think so.
What was the other one?
Was it Justin Begg? Threw one out.
Did it count?
Oh,
it doesn't.
It
matter.
went in.
It went in.
2 75s. 2 75-footers.
On to the next. We're on to Glue Guys.
All right, for the next segment, Glue Guys, and once again, note to audience, Glue Guys.
Good thing.
They complete.
Yeah. We're not saying that you lack this, or this. Just based on the team makeup, you're doing things that help the team win.
Yes.
Like we've said before, you can go to another team that may not be very competitive and probably score a lot more, do a lot more of this or that. But these Glue Guys on these teams right here that we're going to talk about are reasons why they're being successful at this point.
If you have a different name, put it in the comments below.
What do you
We'll
want us to
definitely take. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about. I just think it's a great thing.
So I'll start off with the Kimball Biggs, the Cannon Wickware, and Kyron Henderson. Henderson back from the football field, and they showed out against Duncanville. There's a reason why they're in that game. I know we talked about Tijon Brown earlier, but their ability to control and win the glass majority of that game helped a lot. And when you're talking about going against the size of Ron Holland, Cam Barnes, Davion Sykes, Anthony Black, Duncanville's used to winning the glass, and the strength and the athleticism and the no back down from DeCannon and Kyron Henderson really showed out. They both run the floor very well. They're just those guys that, with a team that plays fast in transition like Kimball does, you need rim running bigs that are going to finish. And they're throwing lobs up. DeCannon, I mean, that's a stock riser in his own. Like, that kid's playing really, really good basketball right now.
And you mentioned Kyron Henderson being a football player. DeCannon at his old school, he was too. And so now you're having that football mentality in the middle of the paint. And that's always scary for any opponent to have to face when they're that tough and that physical with you, because they both bring that style from the football field onto the basketball court. You're saying DeCannon's a stock riser. You know, he's just full-time basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
and so that's going to help him.
And then at Hoop Fest, I know I said they lost to North Little Rock, but there was a 7-footer, Khalil Ware, that's going to Oregon that, had a really good game, but those two's ability to make it tough for him. And then Kyron was hitting threes, step back, crossovers, and stuff like that. And the one thing I noticed with Kyron was when he walked out on the court at the R.J. Hampton Showcase, might have been I haven't seen, that was the first time I've seen Kimball in a while. But you can just tell the aura, the energy with that team when he's on the court. It shows. And another reason why they're a top 25 national public school team based on some of these rankings that are coming out, because they have bigs that can play with anybody out here with their energy and their just willingness to win.
In athleticism.
Yep.
I've mentioned this guy plenty of times in this category of Tyree Davis. And Tyree Davis from Pearland Dawson.
We'll see him.
Cannot wait to see him Thursday.
Okay, cool.
Against Frisco Liberty, that we'll talk about later. But Tyree Davis, I imagine him in college doing 12, 6, and 4 as a stat line consistently. Because at 6'6", you can try to put him in a box of what position that he's gonna project at, and you say, he's gonna be some type of forward. However, you want the ball in his hands a little bit because he knows the game of basketball. He knows where his teammates are going to be. He's also a guy that can run the sidelines and get to certain spots on that court to catch the ball and just go finish. And then after he finishes, he turns right around and sometimes he's the lead guy on the inbounds pass trying to deflect it.
Yeah, knack for the ball for sure.
He's pedigree. Dad was a really good NBA player.
Yeah, I didn't know that till y'all told me off camera.
Yeah,
but Ricky
Davis. It's some
Headband
moments.
Cavs, yeah, for
moments.
sure. Yep.
Cleveland.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Thatcher McClure and Devin Vincent.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I mean, these guys both do wildly different things. Devin's really taken on the guarding, and throw Jacoby Campbell in there as well. Jacoby and Devin really guard the other player's best player. And they kind of take turns. They tag team it. They both get going. Jacoby's electric in transition. Devin step out, hit it. I saw him attack the rim a couple times in Lancaster finish. He showed some different elements to his game. But the things that those two do in particular really make life easy on Jacoby.
No, for sure.
And then you've got Thatcher, who makes life easy for Alex to go get every rebound too, because Thatcher does all these things. He rebounds just like Alex. He blocks out his man every single time. He can make that corner three and really stretch the floor, which really helps that dribble drive. Now they're playing two bigs plus Kobe Walter 6'6". I mean, like, Thatcher really allows that McKinney machine to play like they want to play because he can step out and shoot, because he offensive rebounds so well, and because he can get inside and mix it up and score on the offensive end as well. So those are just three guys I want to make sure and mention that they're really easy to lose sight of when you got Jacoby Walter and Alex Anamekwe. But those guys have played in big games. And then I forgot Jackson Steele.
Yep.
Dude hit 2 threes in the third quarter when Lancaster tied the game up. He buries 2 threes. That's the difference in the game.
Yeah, he hit big threes against when they played Arizona Compass at Hoop Fest as well.
All
Yeah.
four of those guys are winners, and they deserve to be on a college roster.
And
I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say, if you want to, if people don't like the glue guy, these guys are X Factor guys.
X
They're
Factor, I
going
like
to
that.
bring
Okay.
something
I like
a
it.
little bit different.
You're an X Factor. I 100% believe
My
that.
ADD kicked in, so I had to say it.
and I'm putting some pressure on myself as the producer and director of this podcast. But if I get this out today, y'all are going to see McKinney tonight.
Yes.
So that tells you that I got some pressure to get this out. So
Against
what I'm
Highland Park.
Highland
That's
Park.
a whole different story for
Yeah.
tonight, and hopefully headline tomorrow. But yeah.
for me, I've talked about this Denton Geyer team a few times on this GASOCAST.
Gossip. I want to see them.
So I've talked about Kyron Lindsey. He had a huge game, 2020 game. I've talked about super freshman Jeremiah Green. I've talked about super freshman Jordan Lowry. We're on glue guy X Factor guys. Connor Newton, 5'6", 5'7", flamethrower. But what I like about him is that he wants to be involved in the moment. He wants to make plays. It's not just like wait for me to get a wide open three. When Kyron Lindsey runs the court, Connor Newton's finding him with all types of crazy type passes. Like he's threading the needle multiple times. I'll be posting a clip. Like I said, I'm backed up, but I got your own highlight coming, Connor. But yeah, his ability to pass tells me that he wants to be involved in the moment, and he's an X factor for a team with Denton Geyer, who has the most productive player in the state. When we're talking about filling the stat sheet with Kyron Lindsey, now you put super pieces around him, and that just makes Connor Newton an even bigger X factor, hitting multiple threes a game, defending hard, taking charges. He's just a smart, crafty player that is maximizing his role in that offense in that program.
And you know what? I will say this. I think we all like him. At some point, we've seen him, and it's like, wow. Forget the size, the height.
Yeah.
Dude's a baller.
Yeah,
and I mean, it doesn't matter where he's ranked.
Yeah.
The guy, if you're ranked somewhere in our GASO rankings, we think you can play at some level.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of fun to watch because he's just this gym rat that's out there, and he's like you said, you just don't know what he's going to do sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure.
When you at that size, you got to be crafty.
Yep.
I love watching those dudes. Okay, I'll set this one up.
Okay.
Our next segment's going to be called Next Gen. Again, not players that we've never heard of, never seen, but that we feel like we want to make sure and mention because
Yeah,
we
the next
saw them.
generation, as much as we want to talk about these 2022s, like there's more talent in Texas that we're excited about. And these 24 and 25s are guys that are starting to make maybe their first impact that they've had the opportunity on varsity.
Yes, that's a
early on.
great way to say it.
Right.
It's a
And
great way to
we're
say it.
looking at more of the underclassmen role as
Yeah.
the sophomore freshmen
Yeah.
of any year, and upperclassmen or those 22, 23s, like you said, Timmons.
So without further ado, I'll kick us off. Jalen Shelley. I saw him last year for Frisco Lone Star, and I put like just a star by his name. And I was like, I need to make sure and pay attention to that kid. Well, I go to his game on Tuesday, and he had just finished the football season on Friday night, scored 18 points. Played Saturday, scored 17 points. Playing on Monday, point guard, Jace Spann and Bishop Jones, big power forward, both notable players, they're out. So Coach Connor says, yeah, we're sliding him in at point guard. This dude's 6'7",
Yeah.
handling the ball, all the skill in the world.
Long as can be. Yeah.
Long as can be. He's got every move you can think of, and he's running the point guard in a varsity game, 3 games in with no practice from football. And he scored 15 points. He didn't shoot it particularly great, but just the writing's on the wall. Like, you can see it all with that kid. He kind of has that knack of getting fouled and getting to the foul line. Like, that's a special talent we talk about, I don't want to make this all about PJ Haggerty, but he's really good at that. And that's kind of what I saw with Jalen Shelley. I was like, oh, this guy has a knack of getting fouled, getting to the line. He sees the floor. He could play. A lot of people say, oh, he's a point guard. No. Like, you've got to be able to see the floor and do things to truly be a point guard. We're not just talking about walking the ball up the court. This guy did that stuff, and I'm really, really excited to see how he projects. So make sure and go see Jalen Shelley, Frisco Lone Star.
Yeah, back to another San Antonio kid from San Antonio Reagan in 2024, Aiden Richard. He's not going to go get you 20 points in the San Antonio Reagan offense. Those guys are similar to, say, Austin Westlake when it comes to running a system, sharing the ball. There's more than 1 or 2 3-point shooters. But Aiden Richard really looks every bit of that that part that you want to see in a young guy, that next gen, and he can shoot the three, he'll go rebound, he's skilled, he handles the ball, and then I'm looking at him, and after the game I go, "You're a Thompson, Texas top performer." He goes, "Yeah," and just and that's why we have those types of events, because when they get out on those courts, you're familiar with them. Then you get to see, like, oh, wow, this is how he's going to produce in the high school setting.
Nice. For me, point guard Montana Wheeler of Houston Christian. This kid kind of looks like he has family that have played basketball at a high level. Oh, yeah.
12 and 14 assists on Saturday
at
for Kentucky.
Xavier Wheeler, his older brother. You can just kind of see he's a floor leader as a freshman, and he carries himself like he's a senior. Smaller guard, but his ability to hit the open three and knock down shots, his creativity, not as fast as his brother at this point, but just his ability to run the show, and he's efficient. Usually as freshmen, you're like, okay, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Well, he doesn't play like a freshman at all. He gets his Brody Robinson, his backcourt mate, gets him involved, knows who's playing well, and just does a lot of the high-level things that you need to be successful. Able to get inside, knows how to get inside the paint without getting a charge, has a little floater. But like I said, his ability to hit threes at this stage is really scary. He's barking out orders, telling kids to go to the corner. Just his floor general leadership, man, is off the charts.
And people that I've spoken to in Houston, a friend of ours, Doug Jones. I mean, we've had discussions and with others, and everybody kind of feels the same way, that he's maybe a little bit better shooter at this particular time than his brother was. And so Montana's really you got to guard him out past that 3-point line.
Yep.
And so
it's great to have that shooting now, and so I'm really excited to see his progress with everything else. But like I said, he plays like a veteran already.
Speaking of shooting, boy, Luke Coffrin,
the best hair in the
Katie
2024.
Tompkins. Dude has a strap. It's the prettiest stroke in all of Texas.
Yeah,
I'm saying that. And
it's pretty good.
It's picture perfect.
RJ Jones online.
Don't do that.
My bad. Hey,
don't do this.
hey.
He's got a nice stroke.
He's the best
You're right.
shooter.
You got to see this guy.
He's the best shooter in the state of Texas from Katy. I mean, do you want us to narrow it down?
Listen, he can flat stroke it. And the thing that I like about him, he's a 2024. He's playing on a really talented team at Tompkins. The thing I like about him is that he's not, a lot of these kids get plays drawn up for him, and they think they have to shoot it. No. Coach is giving you the decision to shoot it. And, he'll come off a screen, triple screen, he'll catch the ball, load him up. But if the guy's coming out on him, he's going to make a play for another. He has a very mature game. And, like I said, he's just pure.
Now that you say that, and the way Tompkins played the particular game that I saw them at the Texas Invitational, I saw them the game before you did. There was no jealousy on that team.
None.
Because think about it, he's playing alongside BB Knight, who is going who's going to La Tech, and Luke's handling the ball. He's making a decision, and sometimes his decision, more times than not, is I'm going to take this shot, and everything was fine. And he put up big numbers. He made 20 plus in the game that I saw.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'll move on to Jacoby Coleman of Frisco Liberty. I haven't seen him this high school season, but I saw him plenty this summer. He played with the Pro Skills 8th grade team.
Gossip.
Yeah. So we'll see him Thursday.
Can't wait.
We're going to see him Thursday. But, as a freshman, 2025, with Frisco Liberty undefeated so far this season, freshmen, the way to make plays is to be efficient in your role. And that's one thing. He has great body control, finishes well in traffic, will hit the open three, very confident. And that comes back from playing a very high-level summer circuit where you've seen a lot of very other impressive now freshmen across the country. But, yeah, his ability – you have Trent Walters, who's explosive guard that I'm really excited to see. But just, a freshman, a strong body wing, 6'3", but just his ability to finish and do the things when asked to do that he's able to do them. He can have the ball in his hands. He's not going to be taken away. He's strong, and he's willing. That's what I like, willing to go out there and make a play. And like I said, there's a lot of freshmen make freshman mistakes, but, he just carries himself like he's not a freshman. He belongs on the court, and he'll big stats. He's going to rebound. He's going to defend. He's going to get assists. He's going to score just enough to help Trent, and that's one of the main reasons why they're undefeated early on.
Yeah, when I look at this,
I'll help you out.
Yeah.
Dorian Onwu-Chekwa.
Yes, but what I was going to say is there's going to be a little bit of a trend here for my next three, as I don't know why I'm always drawn to the big man. Dorian, I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there with you, watching him going. I'm a little bit frustrated. I'm like, this, in a good way. Faith family's so good. They're sharing the ball. Not just one guy's taking over a game. But then you just look at the 6'10" frame, running the paint. Running the court. Huge hands, big body. I'm like, that's what a high major dude looks like. Yeah. And so there's always gonna be flaws in games, but the amount of work that he's getting on the court right now on a high power team is gonna pay huge dividends down the stretch. I mean, he's got every bit of what it's gonna take. Just as he matures a little bit and realize that he's not going to touch the ball every single time down the court and just kind of use his touches efficiently, he's got a chance. Holy moly.
I'll jump in here. Trent Payne, saw him at the Pasadena tournament.
You're not the only one on this list. Like, once a Brad Ball's live video comes out and, like, Brad's like, have you seen this kid? I'm like, yeah. Like,
I didn't know that. So that was good. That's good. I can't wait to see it. He was Allen's sixth man. He comes off the bench, and dude is dealing. Like, and it's like, he's a freshman, and he is under control. He is smooth. He does everything that you want your point guard to do. Already a playmaker. I saw somebody go up for a layup, and he goes and pins it off the glass. And I'm like, okay, you're a freshman, and you're 5'10". You're not supposed to be able to do that. So Trent Payne.
Well, maybe he should be able to do that.
He should be able to.
His dad is bro Keith Payne, who was from Dallas Carter.
Pedigree.
But I can't remember.
Pedigree. Hashtag pedigree.
This was before you even graduated, so
I don't know him, but
he was that same thing. I mean, he was put together. He was able to get up off the floor and go finish.
Trent's a stud. He's going to be a stud starting at Allen. Allen's like bigger than TCU. Like, as a freshman, there's more kids there. Yeah.
Bigger as in
Allen has more kids than TCU. Like that,
on campus.
On
okay,
campus,
gotcha.
and that's a freshman starting.
I thought you were comparing the teams.
6 man. No, gosh, no.
I would have put that in gossip. Another big man, Ryan Erdos from Bernie Champion 6667. He was really intriguing because we know about Bernie Champion with all those guards out there, Brom and Jesse, Pertz, and so on and so on.
Braxton Burdick.
Braxton, yes. And so, anyway, so he's
X Factor.
He's a guy that just gets up and down the court and kind of does his job as a sophomore. He's diving on the floor, and I mean, he does things that you have to look at your roster and go, oh, kid might have a little bit of a soft body, but he's gonna grow into that and get better because he's got good hands and he's working hard, and I like seeing him.
Yeah. I'll be the last one. I'll wrap this one up. Brooks Barr, Keller, we talked about how fun they were to watch. And he's a sophomore, 2024. He can shoot it. He can put it on the floor. He can post you up. He'll get the rebound. Really, really good player. Playing with Texas Impact. Yeah. Enjoyed watching him. I think he's got a very, very bright future ahead. And he already fits the mold of the tough Keller kid who can put it in the bucket.
Last one here for you. The LaKendrick Taylor 6667 from Dallas Woodrow Wilson. I don't want to leave him out. Another guy that has a lot of length in the middle of the paint. Corey Johnson has a little bit of a prospect there. Needs to work some kinks out, but he does have a lot of tools.
Yeah, because I walked in late on that game at the Hoop Fest, and like they were already losing to Taka, but like that dunk that he had, he had like a reverse dunk that looked different. So, like, one of those things with his length and his ability to finish like that, like, I know the game was probably out of reach already, but just to see him jump like that and move, it was like, okay, who is this kid?
He had to go up against, like, Robert Jennings.
Yeah.
Grown man.
Yeah.
I want to mention this. I don't know if I did it on the last one, but I don't want to forget. And if I have to do it twice, then I have to do it twice.
You did it twice.
I did?
Yeah, but go ahead. Because they both had big games.
Yeah, I want to mention them again. Mike Williams and Jed Nancha. Freshman from Hillcrest. Go see Hillcrest.
Yep.
You'll see Mike Williams can get by anyone. Has everything that you'd need. Just to the change of pace, the shot. Plays like his dad.
Yep.
Pedigree.
Yeah. They won on a last second tipping, I believe, by Jed. So
yeah. And Jed's a beast inside. He coachable kid. Love him. I'm going to talk about you twice. You're that good. Real quick, let's talk about the gossip storylines.
Yeah,
okay.
so
we've been throwing that out a little bit.
Explain that.
So gossip is more so we can't be everywhere. We can't see everything. So instead of acting like we know what's going on, like we're going to talk about storylines we've seen through social media through other people, just to acknowledge something that we're more interested to see going forward with our own eyes. So I'll start off. Jerry Martinez, one kid that we loved with hard work 2023, has been filling it up at St. Joseph down in Brownsville area. You know, I'm seeing Twitter posts that he's having 40, high 30s. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him to let him know in all of South Texas that you got a player down there that can really explode and score. So if you're looking for games down South Texas with a player like that, Jerry Martinez has been putting up huge numbers.
Yeah, I'll go. Jalen Lowe, my guy.
Jalen.
Talked about him ad nauseum on this thing, but I can't say enough. Brett or somebody just came out.
No, there was a Ball's Life thing.
There's a Ball's Life one.
Did you see the dunk? I was like, okay, wait a second. That's getting even different.
I should go see him. I'll be able to catch him. I'll catch him this weekend, I believe.
I'll catch him
You
next
get
week.
him?
Yeah, I
Okay,
can't wait.
good.
I've seen him. He's been going
I
crazy.
wonder if you already wrote the script for next week.
I know what's
Hey,
going to happen.
This guy, but all honesty here, not enough people are talking about Jalen Lowe. I mean, Jalen Lowe is going to be. He's got to put on weight. That's a generic thing to say, but dude, he hounds the ball and
Knows how to
everything
play,
else.
he
I know
scores,
exactly
he passes.
what I'm going to get with him, and then high IQ guy, and Nazir Mahmood.
Yes.
I love that Mahmood down
Yeah.
there in Leander Rouse. Hopefully we can sneak down there in the next during the 9th through the 11th.
They're playing in New Braunfels, right?
New Braunfels River. Is it River City?
Yeah.
Tournament, but really good lineup. Go check that out. Golly, you talk so highly about him. I'm like, I just need to go back down there and see him. I've seen him.
27 on like
But
12
yeah.
shots. I mean, ridiculous.
Yeah.
We get the privilege of seeing Trenton Walters,
Yeah.
who's been playing great, and
19.5 points.
he's lifting the team.
He hit a nice game winner. I forget who they were playing, but it was a tough shot at the end of the game to win it.
And Jacoby Coleman. So that will be a fun one.
Well, they have they're 7-0.
Yeah.
7-0. Trent Walters is leading them, and they're playing good team basketball. And I think Stephen Fryer, the head coach, is loving what he sees right now.
Yeah.
Probably wants to stay off the radar, but sorry, Stephen.
And then for my last one is going to be just the fact that I'm intrigued with what y'all have seen. I haven't seen them with my eyes. I would love Video Guy, the Millanders, and see what they bring to the table.
I'm gonna
So
give you some
hopefully-
gas. I'm gonna give you some gas money.
pressure on me, baby. I'm gonna start traveling. Watch this.
And then I want to see Geyer. 2020.
You should want to,
Mr.
yeah.
2020 man, the super freshman, and then Connor. So,
Cool.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to see them.
Yeah.
Here's my gossip. I want to see Island Park because I've hyped them up so much. I get to see them tonight against McKinney.
And like I said, this segment we're going to continue to add to it, but it's more of we're seeing our other media friends all across the state talk about guys they like. It's intriguing to us to be like, okay, they look like they're putting on big performances. We want to see them with our own eyes.
Absolutely.
So now, like I said, put pressure on me real quick because I got to put this up today or this doesn't make that much sense. Mass, where are we going tonight?
Wait. I want to give a quick shout out to Craig Smith because I feel like every game I go to.
Dude, that dude's everywhere.
He's at the same game I am.
Yep.
At the same game I am.
Yeah.
That boy Craig be working.
Craig, way to go, dude.
Yeah, you're putting it out. So where are we headed? Me and you're going to HP McKinney tonight. The clashing of styles is going to be really, really fun to watch.
A lot of coffee to be drank tonight.
Yes, facts. And then I'm going to Spring Creek on Thursday, Farmers Branch on Friday, the Carrollton Farmers Branch on Friday at Creekview. I'm going to Prosper on Saturday, and then I'm going to go catch the ending of Garland.
Okay.
Third place in finals.
I don't
on
want. That's
Saturday.
like I don't want to follow that. That's like following like at a graduation when they list all the person's superlatives and the next person just says your name.
Lots of coffee.
So tonight I will be at Richardson Frisco Memorial. That was a close game last year, so I know both teams are really excited. Both teams a lot of momentum from this past weekend. Then Thursday I'll be at Spring Creek for a little bit Friday morning. Then I'm gonna head to Texarkana for the Red River Hoop Fest.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know what my complete schedule is.
Attaboy.
I will start.
But you're going-
This is very typical.
But you're going down 45 though, right?
Oh,
Like you're going.
I might be hitting the stretch by 10.
Okay,
Like,
relax, guy.
Lamar Consolidated, Katie, I know for sure.
Okay.
Which order? I don't know. When am I going to get there? I don't know.
You'll see a lot of
I'll
basketball.
I'll
though.
just see
Blue,
y'all.
Blue will figure it out. This
Yeah.
is kind of how he operates, but it gets the job done always.
Hey, if you throw a comment down there, where should I go this weekend?
That's a dangerous game. That's a
I
dangerous
know,
game,
that's
buddy.
real bad. Oh, geez.
Hey, thank you for tuning into this edition of the GASOCast.
Hey,
Make
join our
sure-
community.
Make sure and join our community. our social media at Texas Hoops Gaso on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
And then subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes.
Like the video, comment, help the algorithm out. Help us out, man.
Yeah, and then
We
at
love
Texas
doing it.
Hoops TV,
It's
he's
free.
putting out everything. Everything's free. Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Cool. We probably won't. We're gonna start going back to weekly because that's a lot of stuff we just
Yeah,
covered.
we just that was like an hour and 10 minutes of podcast. So
Love it.
love y'all.